It's more about the big picture than the details, because I think a lot of specialists focus really on the nitty-gritty details. You have to get the T-ROAS right. You have to get this bidding strategy thing right. And I think like in the end, if you have, for example, a good offer and a strong demand, even if you do things like not perfect inside all those for sure important technical details, you can still drive really good results.
All right, GM, and welcome back to the PPC Mastery podcast. We have a special guest today, Niklas Buschner. He's one of the members of the PPC Hub and CEO and founder of Radyant, a digital agency from Berlin, in Germany. And Niklas is one of the most active members, has been one of the most active members in the first year of the PPC Hub, sharing his knowledge, sharing epic case studies, doing presentations about the things that they are doing at Radyant. And Niklas, it's just really cool to see what you guys are constantly doing and innovating, and also how you're taking the time to share those insights with the community. So it's my pleasure to have you on, and I'm super excited for this conversation and the case study that we're going to be discussing.
Thanks so much for having me on, 𝗏𝗧𝗵𝗲.
Anytime. All right, so Niklas, my first question is, tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
I think like what most people don't know is that I'm a really big lover of going hiking. So I mean, it's a private detail. So people that know me like from my private space know it. But we're big fans of southern Tyrol. I used to go to the mountains when I was a kid for skiing, but I always imagined what the mountain looked like without snow. And I always had this dream, and then I fulfilled this dream, went to the mountains while they were green. And since then, I love it more in the summer than in the winter. Yeah.
That's very nice, man. Have you ever been to South Africa?
I have been, but only on a transit trip, because we've been to Africa once, like Zambia, Botswana, and then also Mozambique. And we had to go over, I think, Joburg. But only one night. So I would say technically yes, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're into hiking, man, Cape Town is so nice. Like they have crazy hikes over there. Like I guess all are intermediate plus level, but such beautiful views and everything. So I can highly recommend that for sure.
I heard about it from one of my colleagues who's been to Cape Town because his aunt or his uncle, so I mean it's aunt and uncle, they live there. And he's been there, I think, last winter, so from 2023 to 2024. And he sent pictures of going hiking, and seemed really nice, when in Germany it was like just rain and sometimes snow, and like from -5 to 5 degrees. So yeah, thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, man, for sure. So all right, man, let's talk Google Ads. So what is something that you believe about Google Ads that most people would disagree with?
I think probably it's more about the big picture than the details, because I think a lot of specialists focus really on the nitty-gritty details. You have to get the T-ROAS right. You have to get this bidding strategy thing right. And I think like in the end, if you have, for example, a good offer and a strong demand, even if you do things like not perfect inside all those for sure important technical details, you can still drive really good results. So in essence, I think most people that are more deep in the space forget about marketing fundamentals. And this is like core and center of every successful marketer.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's so crucial to understand. So I would like to talk to you about an epic case study that you guys have created at Radyant. But before we dive in, could you maybe tell us a little bit about your journey in PPC, how you got started, and why you started Radyant?
Sure thing. So basically, I graduated from high school in 2013. So it's already more than 10 years. And I started to have a strong interest in internet business. I still remember I was sitting with a netbook. So they were called that back then. It was like these 11-inch or 10-inch really small notebooks. I was sitting in class, not during the class, but during the pauses. And I was checking Facebook and was checking the source code because I really wanted to understand like what's behind it. I always wanted to look behind the curtain. That's like my main driver. Also, like big recommendation for everybody. If you have this motivation to just understand things, how they work, it's like, I think it's crucial to really level up personally and in business. But basically, I started to build websites for friends and family and like small businesses. Berlin is a big town, but still, like, you have small communities here also. And they asked me, hey, how can I get traffic to the website? And then basically I stumbled upon Google, started to do first things SEO, and then also started to do first campaigns in Google Ads. And this is basically where I started. So I think I managed my first campaigns in either 2014 or 2015. So it's been quite a while. And then, from time to time, so I did studies on the side and everything, and also completed the bachelor's degree, etc. But then in 2019, I felt like I want to do this with other people, so not be on my own. And then I started an agency, and this is basically how we build it up over time. And now at Radyant, we are speaking now, July 2024, 10 people, so including me. So it's rather boutique, but still, I think we're a strong force. But it's also not my goal to have like 100 people organization, whatever, even if this is not simple to do. But I like to have like a small team of fellow experts sharing the same vision about those channels, and also sharing the same love for as you coined the term, magic internet money, which I really like. Doing things on the internet and making things happen where some people still like don't really understand what are the mechanics behind it. This is basically in a nutshell the journey of me and of Radyant.
Yeah, I love that, man. And to be fair, I didn't invent this term, magic internet money. I saw it somewhere else as well, but
yeah, but I like it. And now for me, it's always connected to you.
Nice. I'll take that. So at Radyant, you have really good team with smart people working on cool clients, and you shared in the PPC Hub. You shared a case study in which you took an account from 28K per month in spend to around 550K per month in spend in only 1.5 years. That's almost a 20x. So the question is, how do you get such crazy scale in such a short time? And could you talk about this case study? Like, I know you cannot really share like what the client is, but more so the mechanics and the content of the case study, the things that you did in order to get that fast growth in such a short time, because that is insane.
Yeah, sure. So I think, first of all, it's a lot of luck in terms of getting this client that had this particular journey in mind and envisioned to really scale their business. But still, like, I'm a big believer of facilitating luck. So basically, if you put yourself out there and like always try to be open for opportunities, then things can happen. And in this particular case, it was a startup company in Berlin, and they were on the edge of going the next step in terms of marketing. And they have like a service. So what I can say is it's like a local service in real estate, in the real estate niche, so to say, in Germany. And they basically already had a setup going. And this is also they were, for example, still optimizing with max clicks, and had a quite fragmented campaign structure and all of that. And where you just saw that this is a service that a lot of people need. You have strong demand. They have a strong offer also. And it really worked well. And then I just did an audit of the account, and I found a lot of opportunities, and I gave them, so to say, a free audit, because I'm a big believer in I rather convince the client with a lot more like free work, so to say, upfront, and then have them work long-term with me, because in the end, it's better ROI than just selling an audit and then maybe they decide to go with another agency. But yeah, basically, we just had an opportunity, or we had a window of opportunity where there was not such a strong competition. So there are definitely competitors in this space. And this is a service that has been around for long. but it was a really fragmented market landscape. So a lot of different vendors, so to say, and not really a consolidated offer. And they were the first to basically offer this, like a one-stop shop, basically, for this service. And yeah, this is maybe the base for it. I don't know what you want to highlight, so I just keep it with that for the moment.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's the high level overview. So let's dive into the case. And you mentioned already twice in this conversation, the first thing you said about that, what you think about Google Ads that some people might disagree with, is the importance of marketing fundamentals and the offer. And you immediately mentioned here, like, the offer for this client is really good. So I guess that gave you the foundation to scale on. But still, the agency or the other person or in-house that they worked with before wasn't able to unlock this scale. So I know that you are super humble always, and not necessarily flexing like other people might with results. But let's dive into the case study here.
Sure.
Like, what did you do, and what were the steps that you took to take it from, okay, you started with an audit. What did you, let's start with this. What did you find in the audit?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe to your point before, it's definitely true that we try to be humble at Radyant, but I think in this particular case, the client was able to do a really solid start with Google Ads because they like took their time and they tried to like also do as best as they can, but also they didn't feel comfortable doing the next step, like spending a lot more money, because they knew if we spend like not 20K a month. So for a lot of businesses, 20K a month is a lot of money. They will probably never spend it on Google Ads, but for some businesses, it's not. And depending on what your revenue, what your turnover is, so 20K can be a starting point as for them, but they didn't feel comfortable spending like twice or even more themselves, because they knew this is not our profession. So our profession is, and this is why I'm a big advocate of thinking about if you really want to have Google Ads in-house, or if you want to hire like professionalists like freelancers or maybe agencies, because your core responsibility is your product, like, and maybe customer service and everything that's around the product. But Google Ads, or also other marketing channels, is basically a product in itself. So when this is also when to maybe do the bridge to the audit, when we looked into the account, what we found is, for example, that they have a lot of campaigns running. So they had 10 campaigns running, and a lot of these campaigns didn't have enough conversions per campaign. And as we know, like, having a solid database is really crucial for the algorithm to properly optimize on. So they had campaigns that had like 400 conversions a month, but then also campaigns that just had 6. So a big discrepancy, where you just know, okay, the campaigns with a lot of conversions work well, but the ones without don't do such a good job. And also what we found is, for example, all campaigns were running on maximized clicks. And so you're not just like, this is okay, you can do it. But at that point where you already have campaigns, for example, bringing in 50 conversions or even 400 conversions a month, you just have to switch to other bidding strategies. Like, for example, a target CPA, or even if you have conversion values, then target ROAS or something like that, maybe portfolio bidding strategies, more advanced stuff, but still. And then also leads were just tracked through GA4 import. And I mean, Google tries to like force this a little bit more now, like with GA4 being the single source of truth. But still, as we know, Google Ads conversion tracking also back in the day was far more advanced. Enhanced conversions weren't available for GA4. I think consent mode was not available. I'm not 100% sure about that, depending on the timeline. Then view-through conversions, obviously not possible through GA4. And also then some leads were double-tracked. So basically you had a lead, a journey where somebody would fill out the form, and then after the form, they would be able optionally to book a meeting. And they tracked the form fill out and the meeting. And this basically inflates the number of leads because they had it together in the same campaigns. And in the end, you don't have like a clear view on what your lead costs, because in the end, if you spend 100 euros and you get one lead, being one form fill out, but then you also track one meeting booked, your CPL, so to say, technically says 50 euros, but in the end, it's the same person, just two actions. And these are the things, not to go maybe in too much detail, that we found and where we immediately saw, okay, these are like points of leverage where we can go in with our expertise and like improve the foundation to make this account scale ready.
Hey guys, real quick, if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future, and feel free to share with a friend, colleague, or family member, because that's the only way we can grow this show. All right, back to the show. You said that maybe it's not, the most sexy thing to dive into more, but I think this is where you make the difference, because you have the data that you have been able to clean up for this client, and that allows you to then make better decisions, challenge your client maybe on certain things in their business where there might be issues, or where the lead to close ratios might be lower, or whatever it is. So I think that's, even though a lot of people will ignore that because it's just not sexy, it is absolutely crucial to lay that foundation. And I know that you used offline conversion tracking, right? To fill in the gaps between those duplicated conversions on the front end and maybe like getting low quality leads. Could you talk about how you used and how you leveraged offline conversion tracking for this client?
Sure, 100%. Maybe before I talk about that, what I really like, I'm a big fan of analogies, and what you just said about not being like the most sexy things, but in the end you want a good result. I like to think about that as for your accountant or a tax advisor, because in the end, when they look at certain laws and regulations and whatever, it's not sexy. But if they in the end can tell you, hey, you can save 5% taxes, 10% taxes, then you start to listen. And it's the same here. Sometimes the technical details about conversion tracking might not sound sexy, but if they help you scale more and in the end make, 20, 30% more revenue or improve your bottom line, there's like a certain sense to it. But still, offline conversion tracking, exactly. So I'm a big fan of offline conversion tracking, and I still cannot understand why so many accounts don't use it. So I think accounts that are handled by specialists, like for example, the members of the PPC Hub, they surely use offline conversion tracking and they know how to use it. But I think for a client, managing not only the Google ads, but also product development, customer service, etc. So especially in-house, I often see problems with it. And basically what we always do is we take a simple setup, so to say, where we track the leads on the website. So this is not offline conversion tracking yet, but then we track qualified leads and deals. And qualified leads, we have like multiple definitions of it. So sometimes we say if an offer has been sent, so in this particular case, it was an offer that has been sent to the client, because they would only send an offer if the client or if the lead is a good fit, or if a positive discovery call happened, or if you have agreed to a follow-up call, whatever. So I just want to emphasize that you have to be a little bit creative about how you define your qualified leads. And then in the end, deals, obviously, when the contract has been signed or the offer has been confirmed. We use this to actually differentiate the campaigns between their impact on leads generated and their impact on revenue. And what we noticed, for example, when we consolidated the campaigns in the beginning and doubled the budget, the CPL rose quite significantly, so by around 40%. And a lot of people might think, hey, this is not good. Why is this going on? But what we noticed based on the offline conversion trackings now, offline conversions now being tracked in the account, is that one of their campaigns was the major revenue driver, but the leads were more expensive. But then we said, hey, if we just look at the leads and the CPL, it might sound like the bad idea to push the budget there, because obviously in the other campaigns we get leads for a quarter or a third of the price. But in the end, if we make most of the revenue with a more expensive lead, it makes more sense to spend. And like we have in Germany this saying, like if you buy cheap, you buy twice. And I think this is the same here. And if we wouldn't use offline conversions, we just wouldn't have this transparency to make this decision. And so all of that, like how you train the algorithm, etc. There's a lot to talk about that. But in essence, if you just have this data, this transparency to drive the right decisions in terms of where do I spend the client's money in the most efficient way, this was like a big game changer for this account.
Yeah. And then, so how did you actively use that data when you have that at your disposal? So with the offline conversion tracking?
So besides the decisions in terms of where to send the budget, we also then had a campaign that was a little bit struggling in terms of how many qualified leads we generated and how much deal value was generated. And then we actively switched the optimization of this campaign to qualified leads. So we basically said, hey, we don't want to optimize on website leads anymore, but on qualified leads. And there, Bob, for example, from one of your co-founder from the PPC Hub or from PPC Mastery was a big help in giving us a little bit of a playbook on how to do this switch, because all switches around conversion trackings, bidding strategy can be it can be a make or break situation. And in this particular case, it really worked well. So we just spent 20% more, but made 100% more deal value. So you immediately saw, like after a month time, so it takes a little time. It's not a day by day thing or week by week. So we took a month and then compared it to the following month. And we basically spent 20% more, made 100% more deal value, 63% ROAS increase. So quite nice numbers. And we had this case also then multiple times in the future. So from that point, this was in summer 2023. So for example, we just had it now a few weeks, 6 weeks, or I think back with a PMax campaign that was driving leads, but I would say rather cheap leads. So they didn't cost much, but they didn't bring much. And we also switched that to qualified leads, and we saw a really nice improvement there. It spent a little bit less, but brought far more qualified leads and also significant improve in deal value. So this is something, if you have a solid amount of qualified leads in your campaigns, and I would say the same threshold applies as with normal conversions. So 30, 50 conversions per month per rolling 30-day period, depending on your sweet spot and maybe the frequency of the conversions. But still, it works really well, and it makes sense to me to look at if you're able to optimize on your CRM actions being like qualified leads or deals.
Yeah, that's really solid. Let's see. So you have this new data that you can report on, you can look at it, you can even actively steer on it. I'm actually wondering, how did that change or impact how you're communicating with your client? Because as you said, in the beginning, your CPL increased by, I don't remember what you said, like somewhere between 20 and 40%.
Yeah.
Which could cause some panic with the client.
Yeah.
How did that change the conversations with them, and how did you work through these on the front end, what might look like bad results?
Yeah. Generally, we always try to look at the whole picture with the client. So even if we don't have offline conversions in an account, we try to get access to their CRM or whatever they have, like if it would be an e-commerce client, to their Shopify, to just be able to see what's actually happening in terms of what goes into their wallet or goes into their pocket. But we spoke a lot more about qualified leads. We spoke a lot more about deal value generated. So we basically shifted the conversation a lot more to the actual business impact, away from, let's say, numbers in a Google Ads account. And this was cool. And I also think this is like important, even if you are like the best Google Ads specialist in the world, you have to be able to talk the language of your client, and talking their language means talking about the impact of their business. And mostly the impact of their business for them doesn't feel like a CTR increase or a CPC decrease or a CPL, whatever, but it's more of how many new offers did you send last week? What was the deal value you generated last month compared to the month before, etc. And this also reflects in the dashboards we use with them. So we have all the lead funnel from website leads, qualified leads, deals in there, the ROAS, etc. by week, by month. So we focus a lot on that in the conversation now.
Yeah, that's epic, man. It all comes down to it all comes back to how you are being business partners to your clients, and
Yes.
And it sounds like that is really important to you, how you work at Radyant,
Sure.
instead of just focusing on the Google Ad side of things, the entire spectrum of their business and how you can help them grow that. I love what you said, like learn to speak their language.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely crucial, because clients probably don't really care about impression shares and all that stuff. Like, it's important for you to know, but
Yeah.
they just want to know, okay, how many deals are we closing, and are we getting new leads, etc. Awesome. So what then? What happened after? Because you cleaned
Yeah.
up the data.
Mm-hmm.
You audited the account. You lay a new
Yeah.
foundation with conversion tracking. How did you take it from there to the next level, even further?
Yeah, we used our new solid base to do a lot of tests. So we like to do high impact tests. It might sound like a buzzword, but we try to test things that should work. Maybe sometimes they don't work. But if they work, they have a high impact. So we don't like to test small things where we might get 0.5 increase in CTR, because could have some impact, yeah, butterfly effect, but it's not maybe the biggest. So what we did, for example, we tested broad match, and I mean, we tested it in a time where there was still a lot of rumor about the, let's say, new type of broad match. So is it really a better version than the version we know from back then, when it was just, let's say, pure waste of money, to say politely.
Let's put it kindly. Yeah,
Yeah, let's put it kindly, genau. Exactly. So, yeah, we tested broad match. That went really well. We had a nice increase in conversions, around 20%, while decreasing cost per lead a lot. And we also, and this was crucial for us, looked at qualified leads that clearly increased, and also looked at the ROAS that was constant. So for us, a positive test, because we are able to bring in more leads, which basically means more opportunities. And if the ROAS stays the same and we even have an increase in the qualified leads, not all of the people that converted then might be ready to buy immediately, but having them in your CRM, being able to contact them over time, being able to nurture them, send them helpful resources, maybe send them a YouTube video about a case study or like a customer story, and all of that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense if you have crap leads that say, hey, I have no idea what the service is about and I don't want to buy from you. Buy. So this was one thing, for example. And then also we tested landing pages. So we started to build our own landing pages. For us, this is like a big factor, because in the end, if we control what goes in the Google Ads account in terms of conversions, data input, CRM data, etc., if we control the Google Ads account in terms of campaign structure, in terms of ad settings, in terms of assets used, etc., bidding strategies, why not also control where the clicks from the Google Ads account goes to, meaning the landing pages? And especially in lead gen, I think it's something that just makes a lot of more sense than in e-commerce. Obviously, in e-commerce, you could try to think about conversion tracking for PDP or collection pages, etc. But building something, you can't build a new shop just on the go. So this was also really crucial. And there we saw, like, I think one of the biggest impacts in the whole account, because I mean, I think, do quite a good job in terms of creating landing pages, but also just the speed of iteration. So being able to, if you have a new idea in a campaign, you can create a new landing page within a few days, maybe also within the same day, depending on your, like, how tech savvy you are, what type of landing page builders you use, etc. But just the speed in which we tested out new stuff, built super tailored landing pages to new campaigns, to new ads, to new keywords, etc., topics. It was, I think, one of the biggest growth unlockers for this client. So yeah, this is definitely, I think, key here.
Yeah, very nice, man. I think this is also part of your local search strategy, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we could talk about local search also for an hour, but could you could you talk a little bit about how you or what that is first of all, and how you
Yeah,
implemented this for this case? Because I know that that was
yeah,
also a big driver
big
of more
driver.
even more results. Yeah.
Exactly. So basically, if you have services that are somehow deployed locally. So it could be also a plumber, it could be a repair service about something. It could be also like you have to bring your car to the repair shop. People tend to not only, and I think this is true for basically around the world, people tend to not only search for the service, but search for the service plus their region, their city, their village, whatever. So basically, you have a big potential of keywords where people actually tell you where they want to use your service. And what we thought is, okay, if people use their city, their region in the search query, they have like a high importance of this particular local orientation. And why not use this and show them their location in the ads and take it even one step further and show them their location on the landing page? And I mean, showing the location in the ads. Okay, people that are somehow familiar with Google Ads know the location placeholder. The location placeholder, I think, is not the best idea if you have keywords with the city in the keyword or in the search query, because you are reliant on Google identifying the location correctly, and it could be right, it could be wrong. So using a keyword placeholder makes a lot more sense here. Of course, you have a lot of keywords than in your ad group. For our client, we had around 2,000 initially, but it's like there's a big demand in whole Germany, and I mean Germany is huge. So we used the keyword placeholder in the ad, and then also we passed on the keyword, so to say, or like the city from the keyword to the landing page, and we did it with the final URL placeholder on keyword level, because I mean there are other people that contributed something to the strategy that have fancy stuff on how to do it with other solutions, but in my idea it has to be simple and practical. And we just had our keyword list in a Google sheet, and we had the city names, and we then basically dynamically created, so just Google Sheets sticking things together, created a landing page URL where at the end of the URL you have a query parameter. Query parameter is always just with the question mark, that features the city name and passes it onto the landing page. And then on the landing page, we have like headlines that are dynamically adjusted based on the city that is passed to the landing page. And this was the best idea we ever had. So my colleague Marius, he's a head of SEA at Radyant. He came up with the idea, and then we really quickly pivoted. Not pivoted, we quickly tested it, and the results were like crazy. I think initially we got just a significantly higher CTR, so from somewhere around 11% to 50%, which was already crazy.
Well,
But even at a scale of about 100K monthly ad spend per ad group, we reduced the CPL by 10%. And on that scale, I mean, a 10% decrease is huge. And then a little bit further down the line, we saw also the impact on qualified leads and on deals. And we had like 5% points more conversion from leads to qualified leads. So this was significant, and the ROAS increased by 16%. And now basically this ad group, so the ad group that features the local keywords, is by far the most important one based on deal values. And I think like from March 2024, so quite recent now, basically the deal value from the local ad group compared to the generic ad group that also has the same service keyword, but just not the adding of the city, it has 50% more deal value and 84% better ROAS. So this is really crazy. And on that scale, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think really, really, really great strategy for everybody doing local lead gen. I highly recommend you to test this out.
Yeah, epic, man. It's just the perfect execution of relevancy, because you have relevant ads, relevant keywords, super relevant landing pages, which is especially for local. If you're seeing this type of service in your region, then you already know, oh yeah, I need to go with these guys. Yeah, very, very nice. You also have a video on your YouTube channel about local search, right?
Yeah, it's a recording from PPC Hub keynote.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So just quickly, I'll make sure to put that in the description as well. But what's the name of your YouTube channel so people can find that?
It's as my name.
Okay.
The same as my name. So really simple. Just Niklas Buschner.
Okay, cool. I will link it down as well. So if you're interested, you can listen to that, because then Niklass goes into, I think, 30 or 45 minutes going into the entire strategy and what tools he's using to set this up and to create these landing pages dynamically with insertions, etc. It's really, really cool.
And also the exact Google Sheet setup on how we put all the stuff together to dynamically generate 2,000 keywords and the URLs, because for me now it's simple, but if you haven't done it already, it might sound complicated. So you just have a shortcut to having like a usable setup.
Yeah, cool. So I think this was almost all of it of the case, but are there any other key components that we missed?
No, but we have some new developments in this case, because we always try to like push it more, but this just came in quite recently. So for example, we noticed that, and this is, I think, really key also for other Google Ads specialists. So thinking about the different awareness stages that the customers of your customer are in. So basically the people you are targeting with your ads. So some people might already be brand aware. They search for the brand. Some people might be solution aware or product aware. Some might be problem aware, but some not even aware about the whole thing. And the bigger your operation gets, the more you have to think about how to address the people that are like more up the funnel. And they're basically the client. They had the initial idea coming up with some sort of a free check. So where you can basically put in some data about your house, and then you get an assessment about how much can you save with a renovation, etc., etc. And this proved to be a real game changer for demand gen, because we have like a very big inventory, obviously, on YouTube, Gmail, Google App, so Discover Feed. And the leads are really, really cheap, so to say. But in the end, they still convert quite nicely, because people see, hey, this is how much I could save, and this is basically the things that I have to do. And then they have a very well-trained sales team that goes into the conversation and just basically educates the leads about possible solutions. So, and like what you can take from that in essence is, if you think you have maybe maxed out the active demand in the market, think about the next steps you could take, but also always make sure that you adjust your communication, because people that might feel the problem but might not be ready yet to take action, they need a different communicative approach. So you can't just tell them, hey, buy my service now. You also get 20% discount. It just wouldn't work. So you have to come up with creative solutions. And this is, I think, also where it gets really interesting in terms of demand generation, in terms of upper funnel marketing, etc.
Yeah, super interesting, man. Insane case study, from 28K to 550K something, maybe even more now. We're a few months further
it's
ahead
still
already.
quite at the same level, but I'm confident that there will be a point in time where we hit seven figures in spend a month. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe somewhere in autumn or maybe next spring, and I will keep you posted.
Yeah, very nice, man. So speaking of that, you mentioned we're constantly talking about the spend. What was the benefit for the client? Because obviously, like, spend for them is not a KPI, but what was the outcome for them in terms of business results?
It's the main growth driver for the whole business. So basically, I think still around 80% or maybe even more, but I think around 80% of their leads come from our Google Ads initiatives. So this is basically the facilitator of their growth. In terms of business revenue, so they are on track, I think, to make 10 million this year. So basically scaling this quite significantly. Last year, I'm not so sure about the revenue last year, but basically, like if you look at it in terms of business value, the whole company has really scaled based on this Google Ads rocket, so to say. And it really helped them to attract a really senior people, get great funding from great investors, hit new revenue milestones, in also 2024, looking at a new absolute milestone with around 10 million. So yeah, I think there's a lot of business value in there. And maybe at some point in time, we can like pull the curtain and talk about the whole story in complete detail. But still, now we have to be a little bit in stealth. But yeah, that's what I can say.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Thank you for sharing that case study. So now I want to transition, Niklas, to a few rapid fire questions. I'm going to give you two options. Yes, let's do it. I'm going to give you two options and you have to choose. And you cannot say it depends and you cannot elaborate on your answers. All right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The first one is for ecom. PMax or standard shopping?
PMax.
Okay. Google has advertisers' best interest in mind. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Broad match, yes or no?
Yes.
That was the closest. It depends.
Yeah, I wanted to say it.
Yeah, I saw it in your eyes. I can't say it. AARs, automatically applied recommendations, bad or good?
Bad. Bad exclamation mark.
Yeah, very bad. Manual bidding or smart bidding?
Smart bidding.
Smart bidding. Okay, do you think match types, except for broad, are going to be gone in 2 years?
No.
Ooh. And
Not
do you
yet.
think... Hey, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. And then last one is, do you think search and shopping campaigns are going to be around in 2 years?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so let's elaborate quickly on the one before this about the match types. What do you think is going to happen to them? Do you think it's going to stay as it is for a while?
I think it's going to stay as it is for a while. I think at some point in time we will move to these search themes. We also have in PMax already, so I think this will also be like the main thing for search campaigns. But I still think so. Why I said Google doesn't have the best interest in mind, because I think in essence they have their shareholders' interest in mind, and this is like in their best interest. And in the end, so they have to ensure that there are enough people still spending enough money to fuel their revenue rocket and like their cash cow, because Google Ads is their cash cow, obviously. And they have to find a good balance. But I think like PMax has been a really big new product launch, so to say, and I don't think that they will do these like really big transitions in a really like short iteration, like 1 year, 1.5 years. And also we have to keep in mind that there's currently this antitrust trial going on in the US that was brought by the Department of Justice. And depending on how this goes, also how the whole presidency thing goes, this could also change stuff. Because if Google has to somehow make concessions about their product, about how they display other search terms. So we as Google Ads specialists already live with 20 to 60% of search terms not being available. But this is, for example, one key point where the Department of Justice says this is an abuse of power as a monopolist. And so we just accept it because we can't do a lot about it. But imagine that changing. And this is what I don't think like we can clearly predict what's happening, because depending on how this goes, Google might change their product roadmap maybe a little bit to be fairer. But yeah, let's see. I think you should, not you, but everybody in the space should keep a close eye on that and how that goes, because this will have a huge impact on us.
I love that, man. Especially the perspective on maybe like search team, like search key or keywords in the future. That would make a lot of sense. But also, as you said, like with the antitrust case that is going on, if that is going to bite them in the back for big time, then yeah, maybe they have to give these manual options and more insights, and then they cannot make the change so quickly, removing manual bidding or other match types, etc. Even though maybe they would like to. Maybe they just simply cannot on a legal level.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Very nice insights. So final question, Niklas, to close off this episode. If you had to share 3 golden nuggets about driving results with Google Ads, what would that be?
Yes. So I thought about it during our session, and I think it would be this. So the first is, think about Google Ads holistically. So don't only think about the account, impression share, CTR, whatever, but think about actually what drives results, what the market conditions are, what the offer is like, etc. Because I just had it a few weeks ago with a fellow member from the PPC Hub, and he was struggling with results going down. And the first thing I asked him is there currently something changing in the market? And what it turned out basically that a lot of the revenue in the account was generated by the brand, and it was generated by a spike in demand for the brand during some holidays, so some festivities. And he was like, oh man, this goes down. Why? And I just basically told him, hey, you have to think about it more holistically. You can't just look at the numbers in the account. You have to look at Google Trends. You have to look at what's happening around there. Why are people buying? Why are they not buying? You can try to market winter coats in summer, but it won't go as well as when it gets cold. So this is something where I just think, look beyond the horizon. And then second is master skills outside of the account. So basically, it's the same as you also promoted the T-shaped Google Ads marketer, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So you have to be an expert in the campaign structure, etc. But you should pick another skill to future-proof basically your career. So either conversion tracking. So how can I set up conversions in Google Tag Manager? How does offline conversion tracking work, etc. Or maybe copywriting, landing page building, etc. So I like to think about, and how we do it at Radyant, I like to think about our specialists as turning heroes into superheroes. So if I have someone that like basically has expertise in conversion tracking, account structure, and landing pages, like what else do you need? Like this person is a marketing superpower, and a superhero. So this is definitely it. And then I think the third one is, and I have to take what I already said earlier, talk the language of your customers, and that being your immediate customers and also the customers of your customers. So because there's a lot to learn when you just ask questions, when you understand what's valuable to them, what's driving decisions, what's holding people back. And you just really have to understand that, because in the end, if you don't understand that, you can't pick the right keywords. Sometimes it might seem simple picking the right keywords, but I think it's not. And I think it's about really deeply understanding intent, understanding awareness stages and all of that. So basically, think about Google Ads holistically, master skills outside of the Google Ads account, and talk the language of your customers.
Damn, love that. That's very nice. All right, Niklas. Well, thanks a lot for coming on PPC Mastery Podcast. Where can people follow you?
On LinkedIn, on YouTube, and of course, you can also follow me in the PPC Hub. If you are not a member yet, you should definitely join when the doors open again, because I think this is like one of the most valuable PPC communities around the world. Nice.
Thanks for saying that, man. Thank you for coming on and sharing this epic case study. And
Thanks so
as
much.
always, man, thank you for sharing your insights. It's really cool to see what you guys are doing, but also how you are positioning yourself within the PPC Hub, and how selflessly sharing has helped you, grow
100%.
outside of the PPC Hub, on LinkedIn, in the PPC Hub. And it's super cool to have you, and feel free to come back anytime.
Thank you so much, Miles.
All right, man. And to everyone else, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace. All right, that's the end of this episode of the PPC Mastery Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you don't want to miss any future episodes, we're going to be back next week. Then don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend, family member, or a colleague, because that's the only way we can grow this show. Now, there's 2 more things I want to share with you if you want to take your Google Ads game to the next level. The first one is, if you want to get advanced Google Ads tips delivered straight into your inbox on Mondays and Fridays, head over to ppcmastery.com/newsletter to subscribe to our newsletter called the PPC Edge. And next to that, if you want to really take your skills to the next level and become the best Google Ads specialist you can possibly be, then consider joining the PPC Hub, which is our coaching and community platform for experienced Google Ads specialists. You can find everything about it on ppcmastery.com/hub. And with that said, I'll catch you in next week's episode. Peace.